Hey everyone, I'm Amanda and welcome to Disney Chooses My TBR. All right, I've got my giant mini bow on. It can't even stay in the frame. It's actually my best friend's and it's super cute. And I am excited to start June. If you haven't watched my May wrap up, please do so. It was a little bit of a disappointing month because I didn't finish a book, but I did read 3 5-star books. So it was like a good news, bad news type of situation. June is going to be a busy month. I have several doctor's appointments for myself and my son. I also have to start setting up my classroom for the next school year. So that's going to be pretty busy, but I'm still excited to get a lot of reading done. So let's see, if you haven't been keeping up and you don't know how to play or it's your first time here, I draw 3 cards from a Disney memory match game that belongs to my 3-year-old son. And they correspond with a type of book or some sort of criteria for a book. And then I have 2 other reads. One is a book club pick and the other is a book from my 5-star predictions video, which I'll link below, totaling 5 books, unless I draw an extra card. Hopefully I don't, because I don't think I'll have the time this month. And yeah, so here we go. The Belle card. I knew this was going to happen. I knew this was going to happen one day, and it was going to be a month that was going to be difficult. Belle means I need to read a big book, and big to me is over 600 pages, so it needs to have over 600 pages. Yikes. All right. I can't get an extra book. I can't, because I won't be able to do a big book and an extra. I want to peek so bad. Okay. Zootopia, that's another thriller, which means that there's no more Zootopia cards in the bucket. This was the last thriller. I thought I pulled both. Maybe my son snuck it back in. I'll have to go back and look at the videos. I can't remember. So I need to read another thriller. And last but not least, Moana. Moana means I need to read a book that takes place on an island. Or that has water. No, that's Ariel. So I guess it does have to have an island. All right. So there you have it. I am going to go pick my books. Be right back. Okay. So I have my books. I'm going to start with my 5-star prediction book because I have a feeling this is probably going to be the book that I read first. And that is The Island of Sea Women by Lisa See. This is the second Lisa See book I'm going to be reading this year. I've also read The Tea Girl of Hummingbird Lane and I loved it. I just love her writing. She writes about really unique cultures that I've never heard of or know anything about. She herself is Asian American and she just writes about specifically women in different various Asian cultures, and it is just everything I've read by her is just fascinating. I've heard this one in particular is incredible, so that's why I have a feeling I'll give it 5 stars. Although I did have a feeling that the last book I read by her would be 5 stars, and I wound up only giving it a 4. But I have heard better things about this one, and I'm so excited. This one is about, I believe, an island, a Korean island, and they have specific women who are divers, I think. And I did take a peek at the first chapter, and the first chapter takes place in 2008. So I have a feeling it's going to jump back in time. So I'm really thrilled to read this one. I do have this available as audiobook as well. So if my eyes are still giving me trouble, if you don't know about that, then take a look at my May wrap up. But if my eyes are still giving me trouble, I do have the option to listen to this one as well. So I might start with this one. My book club pick, I actually have on order. Well, my mother-in-law ordered it and we're going to share it. It's actually the sequel to The Kitchen House, which I read last month and I gave a whopping 5 stars to. My whole book club loved it as well, and we've decided to go ahead and read the sequel called Glory Over Everything by Kathleen Grossom. It is available on Scribd, but it's a book that we'd like to own, and so it is on order. I do also have the audiobook available to me on that one as well, so that one might be something that I listen to depending on the condition of my eyeballs. But yeah, if you really haven't read, if you really haven't watched my May wrap up, please do, and pay attention to The Kitchen House, because it is phenomenal. One of the best books I've ever read. Definitely need to read that one, and I am so excited to read the sequel. All right, moving on to the cards. So the first card I drew was the Belle card, which is a book over 600 pages, and I am so lucky because last month I read Thunderhead, the second book in the Arc of the Scythe series by Neal Shusterman, and the third book, The Toll, is 616 pages. So I'm gonna knock out the rest of that series, and I'm so excited. I know 616 pages sounds like a lot, but I have a feeling, just like his other two books, I'm going to breeze right through it. I cannot wait to find out what happens to these characters and this whole universe. Like, what he set it up in such an interesting way that I did not expect. So I have heard mixed feelings about mixed ratings about The Toll specifically. So we shall see. I'm super excited to be done with it and just find out what's gonna happen. Moving on, I drew a thriller card. Last month I also drew a thriller card, and I picked Lies She Told, and it was okay. This time I've picked a book off my shelf called The King of Lies by John Hart. This was one of those books that I got off of a bargain table at Barnes & Noble. I actually just peeled the sticker off right before I did this video. I peeled it right off. So I know I got it for cheap. But actually I was organizing my bookshelf the other day. You're welcome. It looks a little nicer, except for this one section where I pulled books off. And I was like, oh my gosh, next time I draw a thriller card, I want to read this. So it is pretty fitting that I drew a thriller card. But listen to the back of this. Jackson Workman Pickens, known to most as Work, mindlessly holds together his life, a failing law practice left to him when his father Ezra mysteriously disappeared, a distant wife, and a fragile sister Jean, damaged by the shared past they've endured. And then Ezra's body is discovered. Set to inherit his father's fortune, Work becomes a prime suspect, but so does Jean. Fearing the worst, Work launches his own investigation, crossing paths with a power-hungry detective, a string of damning evidence, and the ugly rumors that swirl within his small, moneyed southern town. Desperate for the redemption that has eluded him for so many years and stripped of everything he once valued, Work fights to save his sister, clear his name, and regain the love of the woman to whom he gave his heart so many years before. So it sounds really good. It sounds really good. It's a little longer than the usual thrillers I read. I usually read short thrillers. This one is actually almost 400. Actually, it's just over 400 pages. So it's a little on the longer side for a thriller. But again, the point of me playing this game was to get the books off my shelf and read. So I'm excited to finally get around to this one. It has been sitting up there for an awful long time. All right, and then I picked the Moana card, which means I need to read a book that takes place on an island, and I picked Next Year in Havana, which is actually a borrowed book. My friend Lori lent this book to me a couple months ago, and I still haven't read it, but it takes place in the island nation of Cuba. So I'm really excited about it. It's been one of those that has been on my to-read list for a long time, and then my friend Lori in my book club recently read it and said, hey, yeah, I have it. Here you go. I believe it goes back and forth between two time periods, specifically in Havana, of course, and Miami. Other than that, I really don't know a whole lot about this book. It does seem like it's going to be a pretty quick read. It's not even 400 pages. So I just have to see the state of my eyeballs if I can see it. I didn't check to see if this one was available on Scribd as audiobook, or the other one for that matter. But I do know that the first two books on my list are available as audiobooks. So I'm excited. I think this month is going to be pretty good. I'm hoping it'll be better in terms of quantity than May. But man, it's going to be hard to beat over my 3 5-star books. This has been a good year. All right, you guys, make sure to click subscribe and ring that bell for notifications, and I'll see you when I'm done reading.